favourite part of the school building?
Yeah.
Standing right there and looking out there, because it looks really nice, and I can see a lot of the school. It's nice and bright, lots of colours, and when there's changeover of lessons I can see lots of children moving from A to B, and it looks really, really good. Gosh, you're not typing, mate. You're typing my answers before you ask me the next question. You have to be a fast typist if you do.
Why did you choose teal, orange and grey for the uniform?
Why did I choose teal, orange and grey? Okay, well, we had an architect's team who designed the building, and architect teams then have all sorts of other things, like people who design all the soft furnishings and arrange all the furniture, and they also had an architect who was responsible for what they call the colour palette, the colours throughout the school, what the walls are going to be painted in, what the colour the doors are going to be, and the colours of the acoustic panels that are everywhere. And the architect followed a theme which was, I think she called it a river theme, sort of colours of the river, and the uniform fitted in line with that. Fitted in with the colour of the river palette, but also I wanted to get away from black because I just thought black looked so dull and dowdy and boring.
What was the hardest thing for you about the rebuild?
Oh, that's a really good question. The hardest thing about the rebuild, I think it was trying to make sure that I was paying enough attention to the running of the school, making sure that standards were as high as they could be in all different aspects, and at the same time put all the time and effort required into making sure that we were getting the new building right. So there was a period of about 3 years where I felt I was actually running 2 schools.
What was your worst subject at school and why?
My worst subject was physics because A, I hated it, B, Dr. Tyrrell, who was my teacher, hated me, and because he used to scare the life out of me. And I failed it very badly. I did have good subjects.
What do you find yourself telling off most students for?
Well, the easy answer to that is uniform, but if you put uniform aside, I think it's generally for being just inconsiderate, not thinking about how they're treating other people and not thinking about how they're treating the building. Not malicious behaviour in any way, but a little bit thoughtless and a little bit selfish behaviour.
Okay.
These are really good questions. Did you make them up?
Yeah.
Very good.
When you were 12, what were your ambitions and why?
When I was 12,
Yeah.
I wanted to play rugby for England. I made sort of South Yorkshire as a schoolboy and Middlesex as an adult, but I'm afraid I didn't get any further than that. And if you see me hobbling around the school, that's because I've had lots of knee operations from when I probably could have been a little bit faster as a rugby player or a bit more skillful. That was my ambition, but I always wanted to be a teacher, always wanted to be a PE teacher. I knew that from when I was about 14, I think.
When you were, if you weren't a headmaster, what would you be?
A farmer, without a doubt. I got members of my family have farms in Wiltshire and Dorset, and I would have loved to have been a farmer.
Who inspires
Cows.
you the most
Cow
and why?
farmer. Who what?
Who inspires you the most and why?
Inspires at the moment or used to inspire?
Like, yeah, now.
Okay, in the past I was inspired by my PE teacher, who I thought was the best person in the whole world. Now, I'm inspired by the young teachers in our school who have got so much energy, so much enthusiasm, and so much optimism, and so much skill, and they motivate me enormously.
What's your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge? My biggest challenge is still wanting to make Teddington School the very best school it possibly can be, and to give children in the school the very best experience they can have, and to ensure that teaching and support staff in the school get fulfilment and satisfaction and enjoyment out of their days that they spend at school.
What was your most embarrassing moment? What is your...
My most embarrassing moment, blimey, I've got thousands of them. As a teacher or as a child, or
Yeah, just whenever you
whenever. I don't know. I remember when I did my teaching practice a long, long time ago, before any of you were ever born. I did go into my first lesson with my tracksuit on back to front, the tracksuit bottoms, and that was very embarrassing because it was a class of about 60 year 11s, and they made it known that they thought I was a bit daft. So that was very embarrassing.
Did you find it hard to study when you were younger? And then what made you study?
I didn't really find it hard to study. I could study as much as I wanted to. I think the difficulty for me was whether I wanted to do it or not. I thought studying was quite, was not a problem for me, but I did find that I would only study in areas where I had a particular interest. So I did a lot more studying, say at college, when it was all sort of PE teaching related, than when it might have been other things. But no, studying wasn't really a problem.
What subjects did you take at university?
Well, I didn't go to university. I went to what were known as teacher training colleges, and you went there specifically to prepare for teaching in a particular subject. So I went to a physical education teacher training college, and we spent 3 years, and it was all related to PE teaching, and you came out of that with a certificate in education. So I did that from university age, and then after that I did an Open University Bachelor of Arts, and then I did an MBA, which is a business management course for a master's degree. So that's my studying, and I'm studying no more. I've done enough studying.
What age did you start teaching?
Ooh, I was very young. I was only just 22 when I started teaching. So scarily, the oldest person who I taught will now be about 54. That's scary, isn't it?
And what age did you become a head teacher?
That was 16 years ago. So I would have been about 41 or 42, and that was in Hounslow.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Very good question. Thank you.